Hello,
Whew.
everybody, and welcome to the Charlesonia News Network. I am your host today, well, technically co-host. Your host for today is Blocky Danny 9982, who is currently standing right in front of us, or sitting, I should say, in the Dankis World Trade Center currently. Pretty neat. Now, today we have a guest here who is actually a presidential candidate, and we are going to call him Doc. So, Doc, how's your night been so far?
It's been pretty good, honestly. I've gotten to meet a lot of new people today, and talking to a lot of new people. It's been great.
Danny, or Blocky, had constructed a list of questions to ask you, and since, he doesn't have a mic, he's very infamous for being the quiet character. He has asked me to convey them to you. So Blocky asks for question number 1. Do you know what is expected of the president?
Yes, I do. As I believe, the president is supposed to, keep the server a little bit more active, and share the server, advertise it a lot, and also be present within the making of laws, all that good stuff.
It's a pretty keen description of it. The second question he wants to ask you is, what is your plan for being president?
What I plan to do exactly is, I want to try and bring everyone back together. Well, not really back together. Everyone's still a community, but I want to try and bring people closer together as a community. That's a very important thing to me. And peace is also an important thing to me, personally.
It's a pretty good message. So, do you intend on expanding the president's role?
Yes.
In what way?
I plan to kind of expand it to be a little bit more ongoing and active in the server and what's going on inside of it. Instead of just being like an external force, I plan to be more of a
Presence?
an internal force.
Yeah. Honestly, that's a pretty good thing, in my opinion. I guess in game and in the community as well. Gandhi, during his presidential term, now this is just me kind of rambling a little bit, but he was active, but he wasn't like super into the community. Well, I mean, he was, but he wasn't actively interacting with other communities and stuff, trying to get to know them better before trying to introduce them to our server. He kind of just went in there, posted a link, you can join if you want, kind of thing. So
Yeah, I have I have a lot of connections with other servers and stuff. I've done a lot of stuff with servers, and community is a big thing to me. I love community, and this community is great so far.
it's glad to hear. What is your main promotion plan for your term? AKA, what are the steps that you're gonna take to be president?
My main promotion plan. Well, I do plan on, of course, doing some of the basic stuff like posting links. However, I do also, I've been growing I've been trying to grow a YouTube presence, and I was thinking of sharing the, Charlesonia, the SMP, the server, on there as well. And also, making social media accounts on stuff like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever,
Yeah. Jace described previously with another contender, which I technically don't know if I'm supposed to tell you this or not, but honestly, expanding onto other platforms, trying to get the word out there, is one of the best things you could probably do as a president, especially for this upcoming term. So,
Yeah.
You have my full support on that one. Explain the server in your view.
I see the server as a canvas, one that has been painted on, doodled on, drawn on by so many different characters, with so many different views on the world and what's going on in it. And instead of creating a beautiful landscape, this has created a jumble of things. When we should stay unique, but try to bring ourselves together more to create something beautiful. And instead of taking down those who don't believe the same way as you, try to connect with them and find a common meaning.
That's a very strong message.
Mm-hmm.
What party are you currently running under? Now, the party system's a little complicated. You can essentially your party, which I mean, I don't know if you are sticking to a party that someone created, or you're making your own. How are you going about that?
Currently, I believe I am making my own. I have been speaking with people. I don't quite understand some of the party system.
It's just a belief, really.
A belief?
Yeah. You can call it whatever you want, but...
I mean, I have a group of people, kind of. Like a kind of an inner circle for this presidency. It contains me, obviously. I'm the guy running.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe I have not contacted another guy who I was hoping to add to it, so I'm not gonna disclaim who that is yet because I don't know if he's gonna be a part of it or not. And my vice president, which I'm not sure if that's something that you vote for or not here.
I think the vice president is, if I recall correctly, the vice president is just chosen as the second president, or the person who was voted in second.
Okay.
Is that... Oh, go on.
Because I wasn't quite sure how it worked, and I had was going to choose someone else as my VP, my vice president, but I'm not really gonna talk about that much because I, of course, don't know a lot about it.
Honestly, in my opinion, I think making your party would be the best decision because so far the only political party that I know of that exists is the Conservative Party, which is Drew, which he just got disqualified recently. News update on that later on. But he made a political party called the Conservative, which is an IRL one, but he was going for a more authoritative progress into things. Meanwhile, you are more of a unionated one. It feels as though that you want to unify the community in some way.
Oh, yes.
Differences aside, kind of thing.
Yes. I am a strong, I strongly dislike war.
Okay.
However, I know it's kind of a part of life, but it's something that we can pretty easily avoid.
I agree.
And most of the time, it's over nonsense, and it doesn't need to happen.
I also agree with that.
Like the recent war, I believe, with Bredeston and Lopad.
Yeah.
I believe could have been avoided if people would have used their words more.
Well, okay. This is just me putting my input in, which I really shouldn't be doing because it's your interview, but I'm just letting you know that Fred kind of inserted himself into this war. Originally, it was Loped and OSBR, and then Fred kind of just jumped in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand that. And then the war kept on going, even though the OSBR dropped out, which was unnecessary.
They're still in the war currently. Apparently, that was just a hoax.
I I don't really keep up with all the war stuff because it
That's
doesn't
okay.
interest me. I don't.
Yeah.
The only time I try to keep up with war-related incidents is if it's a really big concern, and this is a concern. However, at the time that most of this was happening, and kind of is still happening, I was pretty new, just trying to find my way around here and not really focusing on that stuff. But now I'm taking more of a understanding to it and looking into it more.
That's fine. Well, I would ask you what does your party stand for, but we kind of went over that. Are there any other candidates in your party? Which you said yes to previously, but I don't know if you want to throw names out or anything.
Oh, I don't think I'm gonna throw any names out right now, but sorry.
That's okay. That's fine.
But yeah, for their like identity to be withheld, so nothing happens to them or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair enough. But to confirm, there are other candidates in your party, right?
Likely. I haven't confirmed with them whether or not they'd like to join.
Okay.
But maybe.
All right. That's fine. Why do you think you're the best? Well, in your personal opinion, what makes you different or better compared to the other candidates so far?
Most of the candidates are in this war themselves, and not exactly for the community. They're in it so they can simply have the title, and not so they can help the people who need to be helped.
Okay.
And like I've said previously, community isn't a very, very important thing to me. So I believe I would be much better at bringing this community together more. And, I have a lot of experience with this stuff. I have around 3 years of experience with this stuff. So
That's
I
certainly
believe
some. Go on.
I believe that I'd be a good fit because, I I have a very strong will. All right. I mean, sorry. I mean,
Oh, that's fine.
sorry. I'm. Go ahead.
Experience is something that hasn't really been brought to the table yet in terms of people. Which I mean, there's some people like Luke and Dave who've had presidential experience, but not really like managing a community or anything crazy like that we've seen so far. I mean, you could argue Gandhi has, but that was just this term. I don't recall him having any past experiences with managing crazy stuff like this server. So it's a new thing for sure. Probably refreshing. And was that all you had for that question?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us something you think the server could improve upon, if anything.
I think, obviously, server could improve on, of course, the community and stuff. That's the main concern. And then there's situations like Fred. There's situations like Fred where all this stuff happens, and it gets really jumbled and chaotic when it really wasn't smooth. I really respect this server. Oh yeah, getting rid of toxicity, that is super important. I see that there seems to be some toxicity, and it, in some ways, I don't need to speak ill on the past president or / a fellow candidate, but while he was in office, he seemed like he was kind of having a little bit of toxicity, while also in his presidency kind of brought forth more toxicity.
That's fair. You know, hate breeds hate, kind of thing. All right. What are some things that we can expect from your administration as a president? Which I think we went over that earlier. But is there anything you want to add on?
Well, some things you can expect are a lot more builds, maybe. I love building. I'd say I'm kind of a good builder, you know. And I really want to help the community with more than just bringing them together. I want to help with builds. I want to help with stuff like kind of like the economy, and all that good stuff.
So you're going for a more welfare kind of thing. Okay. Or not, well, not really welfare. That'd be like helping spawn people. But okay, yeah, I see that. Do you know any of the server history, or have you researched it?
I have been diving deep into what I can find. I know a lot about the history of Danny, a good friend of mine. However, I know that there were a few wars about, and I am aware of this thing called the Cotton Eye Times.
Okay, that's a really important thing to know, especially in terms of factionalism.
I don't exactly think me knowing the history is extremely important, because I think people should really invest in the future, what's new, to keep what's in the past instead of trying to repeat it.
I agree, but as a member of the Marine Corps Junior Reserve Officer Training Committee, there's a saying that the Marines have, and it's that if history is ignored, or if you don't learn about history, you're destined to repeat it. So I do think that there is some level of importance to understanding the history, or, I mean, in your case,
yeah.
most likely the history of President C, which there's not much info on, but...
Oh, yes, of course. Understanding history itself is extremely important, I believe. I love history. You know, I love to deep dive into that stuff. It's extremely important to know. And I do believe you need to know that stuff in order to prevent the past from repeating. So, yeah.
Alright.
Which is why I am attempting to learn more about that.
Alright. How would you describe your behavior?
I'd say I'm a pretty modest guy. You know, I try to be nice to everyone, and I'd say that I have been so far. I try to be modest, kind, and understanding to everyone that I know and everyone I meet. So, and I think I've been doing pretty well at that. I haven't really received anything about how I've been doing anything wrong. I don't recall anything that I might have done wrong. Talk with Save the Hospital Orphans true story. Wow.
No.
Alright.
I try to be an upstanding guy, and maybe even a role model to some people.
Okay. Do you intend on changing that behavior since you will be the new face of the since you will be the face of the server for new people?
No.
Okay, I agree with that. Pretend I'm a random person. Pretend me and Blocky are random people who have no idea what the server is. Describe it to me as best as you can.
Describe the server?
Yeah.
Well, this place is a very good, uh, like, community. It's an amazing, like, template, kind of, that, well, well, this question's kind of difficult. Not really, but I've been thinking a lot. This place is like a temple, basically. You know, it's kind of like what I described earlier, a canvas. You know, you can make whatever, and you can be who you are. But you know, there's a very strong community here. A lot of very good people here that you know, I'm sure are lovely to me. That I've met personally and are lovely to me. Like Danny, me and him, we go kind of like way back. You know, he's a pretty important guy around here, and he's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say a lot of the people here, they're great. I mean, you won't face many problems around here, and if you do, you know, then there's always someone who's there to fix those problems.
I agree. All right. That is all the questions we have for this interview. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, on CNN. Now, before we call the soft block, is there anything you'd like to say, or any input? Vote for Doc.
Yeah, I agree with
Appears
that.
you have quite a few supporters already.
Yeah, I mean, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I agree with what he said.
And Doc, is there anything that you want to say to the audience?
Oh yes. Make the right choice and invest in yourself. Vote for Doc. Vote for the future.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining us, and this is CNN. Good night.